Right, we're going to start now. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining webinar with us today. My name is Vishali, and I'm working with Realtus as UX UI designer, and I'll be the host for you today. We also have with us Pratik Ingle, who is Salesforce business analyst, and Pratik is going to speak on Empower Enterprise with Salesforce Data Cloud. Before proceeding, I will quickly give you an overview about Realtus. So we are an IT consulting organization based out of Texas. We are a global organization and have presence in US, India, Canada, UAE, and Singapore. We primarily focus on Fortune 500 organization and help them solve complex issue with the help of technology. We specialize in Salesforce and SAP implementation across various verticals. Few of the reasons why customer prefer working with us is number one, when it comes to SAP, we have great amount of experience in implementing SAP solution. Number two, the trust that we have developed in the industry over the years. And the last but not the least, the integrity with which we work with our client make it very special. So with this, I'll hand it over to Pratik and have him speak more about Empower Enterprise with Salesforce Data Cloud. Over to you, Pratik.
Thank you, Vaishali. Thanks a lot for this introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar across the globe. This is one of my favorite topics where we talk about data. The way I put across what data is, I feel that data is the new oil. And what we are going to discuss in today's webinar is Salesforce Data Cloud and how it helps empower organizations. I feel Salesforce Data Cloud is a refinery when we put across our analogy to what data means as an oil, right? So we'll do a quick introduction on Salesforce Data Cloud. We'll understand the challenges with data management and why Salesforce has come up with Data Cloud. We'll understand some key features and benefits, understand certain processes, how Data Cloud can be utilized, leveraged to make the most out of the data that resides within multiple systems in our organization. We will discuss a small use case with regards to the financial institutions and then good question and answers. So that's the agenda for today. Challenges with data management, right? So there is a data explosion. That's how Salesforce put across when they talk about Data Cloud, right? We do see that on the screen, there are 976 applications average enterprise with only 1/3 connected. Wow, that's a staggering number, right? 976 applications within some enterprise organizations, right? Why this number is important is because if we look at one single application, each and every application has their own set of databases, right? And here, when we are talking about 976 applications, we are talking about 976 different databases, right? The idea of organization to have these many applications is to serve their customers better, right? And to maintain information in a way that helps streamlines their operations in a better way, right? So huge amount of data is something that we are talking about here, right? 35 systems in an average customer experience, right? So there are different parts of systems. We have backend systems, we have mid systems, and then we have front end systems, right? Back office, mid office, and front office is how typically organization derives or bifurcates in between different types of systems that they have. So on an average, there are 35 systems which are customer facing systems or which impacts customer experience. Again, a staggering amount of systems, 35 different databases that we are talking here. And 89% of technology leaders struggle with data in silos, right? What do we mean about data silos, right? Data silos is something that each and every out of the 976 or 35 applications has their own databases, and they only cater to a specific task or a specific feature in which it is designed or in which it is supposed to behave, right? So for example, we have, if we take financial institutions, right, there's so many systems: loan origination system, loan management system, lead management system, so on and so forth. Each system has their specific need for an organization, and that's why they are in place. And all these systems are in silos. They don't talk to each other. Most of the systems don't talk to each other. Some may, some may not, right? When systems are not talking to each other, the data does not make any sense. So that's what we are going to discuss today. Another research by Accenture shows that, again, 83% say that they're not prepared to handle data. Wow. I mean, out of so many organizations, so many companies, 83% of the companies say, the CIO say they're not prepared to handle data. And which is, I think, the challenge for today. And that's why wherever we go, whichever convention that we attend, whoever customer that we speak to, there is one thing which is in common that we speak is data management, and how do we leverage data today? How do we leverage artificial intelligence today to perform our jobs in a better way? 80% of the data across systems is mostly left unused. Again, imagine we have so much of oil, right? In today's webinar, we'll keep this analogy of oil with related to data. So we have so much of oil left with us. However, we are not able to utilize that oil, right? So there is a need to have a grip on unstructured data, right? Unstructured data here is a key point, right? When we talk about data, we generally talk about structured data and unstructured data. Structured data is something which is available across, our CRM systems, which is available across Excel sheets, so on and so forth. What is unstructured data? Unstructured data is emails, the conversations that you have with your clients, the conversations that you have with your customers, the notes that you take while you're on calls, right? So those are all unstructured data, right? And it's extremely difficult to get that unstructured data into a structured format where it starts making sense, right? So we'll go ahead and see how Salesforce Data Cloud helps us with unstructured data as well. The need for data platform that helps view data the way you want, when you want it, right? We see that there are about 900 odd systems that are available in an average top tier organization, right? Imagine pulling out data out of those 900 systems. If management wants to take certain decisions, how difficult it is. The processes that are involved mostly are manual in nature, where you start pulling data out of the databases, you collate that data, you unify that data so that the data starts speaking, and that's when the management can start taking key decisions. When you have these manual processes, it becomes a time-consuming process for management to collate all of that data. There are certain analysis that you need to run on the data, and that's when it will start making sense. So this manual process is a time-consuming process. So it becomes extremely difficult for organizations when they say that they would want to view the data the way they want to view the data, right? That is one of the critical challenges, and that is one of the reasons why Salesforce Data Cloud is in place today, where you can slice and dice the data the way you want to, and then make sure that the data starts speaking to you for better and efficient decision making. The need for data platform providing benefits across areas. There are so many areas. There's profitability, regulation, satisfying customers, competition, data, cybersecurity, right? Factors global organizations see that there's the biggest challenge, according to senior executives, is the benefit, how to make the benefit out of all of these areas with the use of data. Further research that we have done when it comes to challenges in data, we speak to a lot of CIOs, right? So these are the top 8 challenges that we have come across, right? Number one, aging IT infrastructure and IT spends. The world is moving across in a lightning speed when it comes to technology, when it comes to systems, right? And for bigger organization, it becomes extremely difficult to move with that lightning speed, and they end up with an aging IT infrastructure. And when the IT infrastructures are old, they are expensive, right? Because you're not using latest technologies. that also brings in another challenge, which is data breaches, right? The security patches, the system integrity, the users who are accessing that data. It's extremely critical that all of these things are taken care, and only the people within the organization should have access to data to which that they're working on, not everything and everything. So data breaches is again a big challenge. Data inaccuracy, right? Imagine about 900 odd systems within an organization. And if we have to make that data talk to each other, what quality of data that we need, or that the organizations that might need to draw interfaces out of it or draw inferences out of it and make data start speaking to them, right? So data inaccuracy, data transformation, uh, data duplication, right? All of these are some key challenges, right? Data in silos is something that we spoke about right now. Compliance with government and regulations, right? So for example, in health cloud today, we see there's HIPAA compliance, right? We need to make sure that we adhere to all of the compliances that are in place, that are put across by the governments, or else you end up paying hefty fines. There is a direct impact on your profit and loss statements. There is a direct impact on your revenues when you are thinking about all of these fines and penalties when it comes to governments and regulators, right? New technology and business disruptors, right? Every day we see that there is something or the else that is new coming up, and that creates a challenge for organization to accept new technologies, because the way organizations are set up with their systems is to cater to what their requirements that they have today, right? Very few organizations think a couple of years down the line when it comes to data, right? They might think a couple of years down the line when it comes to business processes, when it comes to operations, when it comes to customer experience and things like that. But when it comes to data, not a lot of organizations are thinking way forward. So these are the top 8 challenges uh, that we deal with. So what happens when you have a data platform in place? You get management reporting, better access to data, better access to dashboards. All the data, the sliced and diced data is available at your fingertips. You can run your big data analytics. You can use those for operational reporting, internal reporting, and regulatory and compliance reporting. Now let's talk a little bit about how Data Cloud works, right? On your screen, you would see there are 3 different dotted boxes, right? These are 3 different processes within Salesforce that they have implemented when it comes to Data Cloud, right? The first and foremost part, right? When we talk about data as oil, right? We all know that there are oil wells available, and we can, just pull up as we pull up water from the water wells, right? But the oil that is, which is available, it cannot be used directly into our vehicles or into our homes to power our houses and so on and so forth, right? Those are the oil is extracted, it goes into a refinery, there are multiple versions, and the impurities of oil are removed, and there are certain processes that needs to be followed for that particular oil, so that it comes to us in a usable format, right? Similar to that, if we take that analogy in data, right, we have data available everywhere. Right now when I'm speaking, there is data that I'm speaking, right? There's so much of unstructured data, right? When we are using our mobile phones, our devices, there is data that has been captured by multiple apps, multiple makers, marketers, so on and so forth, right? So there's data everywhere. So there's data that lies in the CRM system, there's data that lies on the devices, there's data that lies in data warehouses, right? The Salesforce Data Cloud, the first box that we see, data ingestion, is the process where we collect all of this data and put across in a central format, in a central repository, which is Salesforce Data Cloud, right? Once we have that data, we need to do certain processing on it. We scale that data up. We do some batch processing. We help data ingest into the data cloud, which is a data factory, I would say, where the raw materials goes into the data factory as form of structured and unstructured data, right? The next part is when we have data from all these sources, like the websites, mobile apps. We have data Facebook, Meta, Instagram, so on and so forth, right? We need to make sure that the data is in a unified format, right? Uh, Different systems categorize different elements of data in a different way. For example, uh, if we talk about a financial institution, right? A CRM system would capture first name, last name as lead information, right? The core banking system in a financial institution would assign that particular first name and last name as maybe account information or lead information or something like that, right? So there are different terminologies which are used across different systems. So we need to create one single universal file format when it comes to data so that the data can be recognized by different types of systems. So that's what happens when we talk about data models, when we talk about harmonization of data and unification of data, that the data is available or converted into a file format which is understood by anybody and everybody, right? And once we have the data in the data cloud, we can then utilize that data to analyze, predict, act for business intelligence, for AI predictions and activations, right? So in a nutshell, that's what data cloud does. It on the left-hand side here, it connects with so many different systems. It gathers all of the data, brings it at one place. There's data massaging that happens. There's data normalization that happens. The data is brought into one single universal file format, which is understood by each and every system. And then there are certain analytics, dashboard intelligence, and AI predictions, scorecards that can be run onto the data, right? So that's what Salesforce Data Cloud does. Going to the next platform in the data journey, this is what I explained in brief, data ingestion connectors, right? This is the first part of the data journey where we ingest data into data cloud. The multiple ways in which data can be ingested into data cloud, right? One is the cloud storage connector, Google Cloud Storage Connector, B2B Commerce, Marketing Cloud, Salesforce CRM connector. So Salesforce has built in all of these connectors and these are available for ready to use, right? So we as in Salesforce implementation partners, we have access to all of these connectors. And we do have developed our own connectors when it comes to connecting with unstructured data. For example, the call notes that you have taken, the data which lies in your emails, right? So the behavioral patterns of the consumers, all of those connectors are readily available with Realtors, right? So once we ingest data, then we come into data mapping and data management. Here on the left-hand bottom corner, you will see date of birth, date birth, right? So these are different fields which are mapped against what we see on the right-hand side of the box, right? So there are multiple ways in which different systems uh, call their data in a different way. There would be certain place, there would be a phone number. Some system might call it as a mobile number. Some system might call it as a landline number, right? So, and they're different. All these three things are different when we are just talking about contact numbers, right? So we need to make sure how we map that data into our data management platform. And if you look at the screen, these are just drag and drop functionalities that we have within the Salesforce Data Cloud, and it becomes so easy when we are mapping 900 odd systems to Data Cloud. Right? So that's what Data Cloud brings on to the table. The efficiency which we can work around data is amazing. Right? And once we have data mapping done and data management done, once we have the universal file formats for the data, that's when data analytics come into the picture, where we can run certain amount of analytics with related to maybe your customer data, maybe your lead data, maybe your accounts data, and so on and so forth. Right. So when we talk about data cloud journey, we talk about unifying your enterprise data, harnessing the power of metadata and the data-driven results. So let's come to a use case. We still have about a couple of minutes left. So I'll quickly just browse through a use case where we talk about a financial institution, let's say bank ABC, right? Now, a typical way in which banks work is currencies, right? What is a product that bank has to offer? Bank offers money. Money is their product, right? They either take money or they either give money. If they are taking money, they give interest to the consumers. If they are giving money, they charge interest to the consumers, right? If we take an example of let's say a car loan, right? For let's say bank ABC, a car loan is a product, and for them the target audience would be somewhere around, people aging above, let's say 28 to let's say 40 or 50, right? Typically, this is a segment where people start buying their first cars or second cars or third cars, so on and so forth, right? So target audience is something which they have to keep in mind while they are, promoting their product onto different platforms, right? So if we take an example of Meta or Facebook as a platform where you would see ads, right? If you are planning to buy a car, whenever you do a Google search, right? Everybody today who have joined the webinar might have experienced that the moment you do a Google search, you start seeing ads on Facebook, right? Whereas in Google is a separate platform and Facebook is a separate platform, right? How does that happen? That happens because within the back end, right? The system of the banks, they are connected to each other, right? With the help of connectors that I was talking about, right? So there are cookies that are targeted or that are implemented in your phone's browser. That's how the technology works in the background, and that's how the banks or the financial institutions within your area or within your country would know that, okay, Pratik is looking out for buying a new car, right? Let's start pushing our ads to Pratik. Let's start showcasing what we have so that he gets influence and so on and so forth. So it's very amazing to see how things within the background work, right? So typically, a person who is in their age group of, let's say, 25 to 40, who is maybe and who is working in the field of, let's say, information and technology, gets a salary of about 20, 30 lakhs, or let's say $100,000, right, is a typical ideal customer profile, right? And then the banks and the financial institutions starts targeting people based on these ideal customer profile on different channels and different platforms, right? Are banks able to see what kind of data that's been published to what are all the customers? No, that's the part of the security and data integrity, right? They will not be able to see a list of all the customers or all the prospects that the ads might have been shown to, but in a nutshell, they get to see that, okay, out of 700,000 people, this ad was published to, let's say, 500,000 people, and out of those 500,000 people, there were about 100,000 people who spend about 5 minutes on those ads, reading about what particular loan product that has to be offered, right? Similarly, there are certain kind of predictive analysis and prescriptive analytics that can be run on the data, right? On your historic data. And when we have to run these kind of predictive analytics, as in who is going to default on their EMIs within next 6 months, right? Or in terms of prescriptive analytics, we need to reach out to, let's say, these 50,000 people who are likely to default on their home loans or car loans, right? To have these analytics in place, it's critical that you have the right amount of data, right amount of historic data. The data has to be cleansed, and the data has to be talking to you in a way that it gives organizations a clear picture. And that's when you can predict the next best action and next best results. So Salesforce Data Cloud helps us perform all of these activities in a very streamlined manner, in a very structured manner. And these are the key takeaways, or the benefits that you get. We get enhanced customer insights, we get improved decision making, increased operational efficiency, scalabilities with the above features that Salesforce Data Cloud has to offer. With this, we almost come to the end of this webinar. If you have any questions, I would love to answer those questions for you. We'll wait for a minute more to see if there are any questions coming in, or else we'll close the floor. Perfect. I don't see any questions coming in. Once again, thank you everybody for joining the webinar today. I hope the overview on Salesforce Data Cloud was helpful. Uh, I would love to personally deep dive down into each of the aspects that we spoke about today. Hopefully, we cover it across in the upcoming webinars. Uh, that reminds me that we have webinars every Thursday. Some interesting topics, some interesting people across the industry come over and speak on these webinars that we conduct every Thursday. So keep following us on LinkedIn, on social media platforms where you would get some more information about the upcoming webinars that we have. Uh, any point of time, if you have any questions, we have offices across the globe. And you can email us at sales.us@realtors.com or sales@realtors.com, and someone from our sales team would get in touch with you to answer those questions. Once again, thank you so much for your time. Wish you a wonderful rest of the evening, rest of the day, and you have a good one. Thank you.
Prateek.